millions of jobs that exist today will simply cease to exist. Sam Altman has spent the last 2 years warning Congress, investors, and the public about what's coming. But here's what almost everyone misses. Buried in his statements is a single idea that completely reframes everything else he says. And when you hear it, you'll understand why most people are preparing for the wrong future. I've compiled his most important warnings. Pay attention to the end, because that's where the real message is hidden. Everyone's asking, will AI take my job? Altman already answered that. The real question is what comes after, and whether you'll be positioned for it. I've created a free assessment that helps you evaluate your risk level and identify where you actually stand in this transition. Link in the description. Download it now, because by the end of this video, you'll want to run the numbers for yourself. But first, you need to hear what Altman is actually saying. And fair warning, the first part is brutal. Here's what Altman told Congress. We are on the cusp of a technological revolution that will fundamentally reshape every aspect of human civilization. Within the next decade, AI systems will be capable of doing most cognitive tasks that humans currently perform. This includes not just routine work, but creative work, strategic work, work we currently think of as requiring human judgment and intuition. The economic implications are staggering. We're looking at potential productivity increases of 10 times, 100 times in certain domains. But with that comes displacement. Millions of jobs that exist today will simply cease to exist. Notice what he said: cognitive work, creative work, strategic work. He's not talking about factory jobs. He's talking about the careers people went to college for. He's talking about your job, or your kid's job, or the career you spent a decade building. But here's where it gets worse. Because Altman doesn't just predict displacement. He explains why the traditional response won't work. The traditional advice we give young people, get a good education, develop marketable skills, work hard, that advice is becoming obsolete in real time. The half-life of skills is collapsing. Something you learn today might be automated tomorrow. We used to tell people to specialize, to become experts in narrow domains. Now that's precisely what makes you most vulnerable. Because AI excels at narrow, specialized tasks. Did you catch the paradox? The more you've invested in a specific skill set, the more at risk you may be. The thing that was supposed to protect you, expertise, is now what makes you replaceable. But the skills problem is just the surface. What Altman says about money is where it gets personal. Here's the part nobody wants to hear. Altman isn't just talking about losing your job to a machine. He's talking about who captures the value when machines do everything. Stay with me, because this next part explains why working harder won't save you. We need to talk honestly about wealth distribution in an AI economy. The current trajectory is toward unprecedented concentration of wealth. Those who own AI systems, who control the infrastructure, who have capital, they will capture the vast majority of economic value created. We could see the first trillionaires within a decade. Meanwhile, the middle class as we know it faces erosion unlike anything since the Industrial Revolution. Let that land. He's describing a world where productivity explodes, but the gains flow upward, not to workers, to owners. Tech companies with tiny workforces already command market valuations larger than entire industries that employ millions. The math is straightforward. When one AI system replaces 1,000 workers, where does the economic surplus go? Not to you. If this is making you uncomfortable, good. That means you're paying attention. This channel exists to decode the future before it arrives. Subscribe now, because what Altman says next is where most people give up, but it's also where the hidden message begins. And the AI adaptation assessment is in the description. 5 minutes. 15 questions. It tells you exactly where you stand. Get it now. Adaptation is no longer optional. But here's what people get wrong. They think adaptation means learning new tools. It doesn't. Tools change too fast. Real adaptation means changing how you think about value creation entirely. Job security is dead. Career ladders are dead. The entire social contract around work that defined the 20th century is dead. Value will flow to people who can do what AI can't. Judgment in truly novel situations, relationship building, navigating ambiguity. But even these are temporary advantages. Even the so-called safe skills have an expiration date. Altman isn't giving you a permanent solution. He's giving you a window, and the window keeps shrinking. The AI-proof skills narrative is more complicated than most people admit. Altman just showed you why. The safe havens aren't permanent. But here's what almost nobody catches. Because everything he's said so far is set up for a twist that changes how you should hear all of it. This transition is going to place unprecedented responsibility on individuals. The systems that used to catch people when they fell, stable employment, pensions, employer-based healthcare, these are dissolving faster than we're building replacements. Governments are behind. Institutions are behind. Which means individuals are going to bear more risk, more volatility, more uncertainty than any generation in modern history. You can argue whether that's fair. I personally don't think it is. But fair or not, it's the reality. The people who will thrive are those who accept this reality early. The people who will suffer most are those who keep expecting the old systems to save them. That's the ultimatum. Accept reality early or wait for systems that aren't coming. But now, here's the part that changes everything. Everything you've heard: displacement, wealth concentration, individual responsibility, the death of career security, all of that is real. But buried in Altman's statements is an idea that reframes everything else. And most people miss it because they're too angry by this point to keep listening. Here it is. We have an opportunity to decouple human worth from economic productivity. For all of human history, your value has been tied to your labor output, what you produce, what you earn. AI breaks that connection. If we get the policy right, and this is a massive if, we could build a world where AI generates abundance, and that abundance is shared. Where you don't need a job to have dignity, healthcare, housing, purpose. Right now, we're organized around jobs, around GDP, around economic growth. But if AI can handle productivity, we could reorganize around human flourishing instead. The technological capability will be there. The question is whether we have the political will and the social imagination to seize it. I genuinely believe the next 10 years will determine whether AI liberates humanity or concentrates power in ways we can't come back from. There it is. The reframe everyone misses. Altman spent 6 minutes showing you the world that's coming by default, then 90 seconds showing you the world that's possible. So here's your real takeaway. Altman isn't warning you to panic. He's warning you to pay attention. Because if you're not watching, not learning, not positioning yourself for what's actually coming, you're choosing the first future he described, not the second one. The AI Adaptation Assessment is in the description. 15 questions, 5 minutes. It shows you exactly where you're vulnerable and where you have leverage. Download it. Be honest with yourself. Drop a comment with the word policy if you caught the real message. Because most people won't make it this far, and I want to know who's actually paying attention. Altman gave one interview where he explained what he's personally doing to prepare. And it's the opposite of what most people think. I'm breaking that down next. Subscribe so you don't miss it.